Hi, I'm Daniel, and I already did the video best episodes from season 3, but I am remaking it, mostly because the audio is very bad because I kept pausing it in the middle of sentences, and it just doesn't feel right. Another reason is I wanted to make a video on Disney Plus Originals, but I already started this script, and I only had one notebook then. Also, the editing of that video was still bad, so I'm remaking it. But I'm keeping the actual list mostly the same. 10. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 4. Spongebob gets Mermaid Man's belt and starts shrinking people with it. This episode's comedy is great, especially the Wumbo joke. 9. Squilliam returns. To impress William, Squidward needs to change the Krusty Krab into a fancy restaurant and turn SpongeBob into a fancy waiter and chef. This works well as a sequel to Bang Geeks, and it works as a standalone episode because the comedy is great. 8. No weenies allowed. SpongeBob tries to get into the salty spittoon, but he's kicked out because he's not tough enough. This episode is really funny, and I don't normally like the story setup of Cavik trying multiple times to convince someone to do something. 7. Wet painters. SpongeBob and Patrick get unremovable paint on Mr. Krabs' first diet while painting his house. This episode doesn't have much story, and a lot of the runtime is jokes. And that is what old SpongeBob leads are, because a lot of the 8 episodes feel like they need to have a complete story. 6. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5. After feeling mistreated, Barnacle Boy join Man Ray and Dirty Bubble, which makes Mermaid Man make SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy and Squidward into a superhero team. If SpongeBob actually ended with the first movie, this would have been a perfect night to the Merman and Barnacle Boy saga. And even as a normal Merman and Barnacle Boy episode, it is still one of the best. 5. The algae is always greener. Plankton switches the ice with Mr. Krabs and finds out it is harder than he thought. Seeing Plankton slowly go insane after dealing with SpongeBob, Squidward, Pearl, customers and Krabs, who is doing what Plankton does, is really entertaining. This was also the first SpongeBob episode I saw of my memory, so it has memories of me being confused attached to it. 4. The Krusty Krab training video. We watch a training video given to new Krusty Krab employees. This episode's amazing for being really funny and not having anything close to a plot. 3. I had an accident. After getting injured, SpongeBob doesn't want to leave his house for fear of the outside world. This episode has a lot of great and amazing jokes, and its climax is probably one of the best SpongeBob moments ever. 2. Idiot Box. SpongeBob and Patrick play in a box, which makes realistic noises that make Squidward want to know how it does that. This episode is amazing for being funny and being a great representation of Squidward's character, for him eventually liking using his imagination in the box. Now, honourable mentions are The Bully, as seen on TV, the camping episode, and SpongeBob meets the Strangler. 1. Chocolate with nuts. SpongeBob and Patrick try to be door-to-door chocolate salesmen. This episode is the best episode from season 3, mostly for having so many great new characters, like the scammer, the chocolate guy, and the old ladies. This episode also has some of the best comedy of the entire show. In conclusion, this season is still great, but it isn't as good as the first two, because there are certain signs of character development, which slowly becomes a bigger and bigger problem as seasons go on. Also, this month had a lot of SpongeBob videos. Some were re-edits though. But after this month, there will only be about one SpongeBob video a month, on average. Sometimes there will be 2, and sometimes there won't be any. The end.